My name's Steve Mascord, and if you're watching this after I've edited it, you'll see down the bottom of the screen it says like, subscribe, get alerts, and all that sort of stuff. You know what the people on YouTube do. If you're listening on the podcast, welcome back. And we've got a guest here who was on one of our earliest programs. We're on a tour bus in Wolverhampton, I believe, maybe 9 years ago. And he's back with his new album. And it's a pleasure to introduce for the second time on the show, Michael Monroe. How are you, Michael?
I am good, thank you. Hey, it's good to see you.
You're very busy. You're very busy.
9 years ago?
Sorry?
Was it 9 years ago? Wolverhampton?
Yeah, about 2000. I'm guessing maybe 2011 or something like that.
Yeah, it must have been then. Yeah, so I was one of the first guests.
Yes.
Proud of that. Yeah, the new album, I Live Too Fast to Die Young, you were saying.
Yes, I Live Too Fast to Die Young. And you've been in the news lately. I'm in London, it's sweltering today. And you've been in the news lately because the first ever rock concert at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was going to be Guns N' Roses, and you were going to be supporting, and things didn't work out as planned. Can you tell us what occurred?
Yeah, the first day, we would have been the first band ever to play at the stadium if it wasn't for the doors being closed. We still don't know why, but we had 2 nights booked, and the first night was our first afternoon, and we were supposed to play at 4:30, from 4:30 to 5. The doors were supposed to open at 3:30. They didn't open, and we were told they're not going to let us play to an empty stadium. So of course, we were ready to go at 4:30, but then we waited, and then about 5 to 5, someone came to say that okay, our slot went by, that we're not going to play at all because the doors weren't open, and for some reason the doors didn't open until 5:15 or 20 past 5. People started pouring in, and then there's the other support band also. They were wondering if they're going to play at all, but then they played. Their show started at 5:30, so people was just coming in when they started playing. So we missed our first day, but the second day we did an even greater show for that. You know, we made up for it. For the second day, everything went well. We played our set on the Saturday, and Gary Clark Jr. and Guns N' Roses, and I thought they were all great shows, and it was great to get to open for those guys. And it was lucky because the next day in Glasgow, their show was canceled, I heard, due to illness. So, but that's all I know about it. We don't know exactly why the doors didn't open in time on Friday, but yeah, which is a shame. But at least we got to play on Saturday. That was great, you know.
Yeah. So one out of 3, right? Is that a big deflating?
1 out of 2.
Oh, you weren't due to play Glasgow, right?
No, we weren't due to play Glasgow. That's why I was just saying. I'm glad that we got to play the one show that we did. We were supposed to play 2, and we got to do 1.
Yeah. And what was the atmosphere like? What was the crowd like? I guess your experience now. So you weren't too shattered to not get on stage the first night if you were 20 something.
No, we were. The first day it was like, I was joking. It was like the greatest show we ever almost did. but the second night it was great, fantastic crowd, and we went over real well, and people loved it. We got a great response from people. Had a lot of great feedback about it, so it was great. You know, I wish we would get on a longer tour with those guys. And Alice Cooper, we opened up for Alice Cooper for 7 shows in Europe, and that was fantastic. It was really a great tour. And Alice, of course, has always been a big influence on me, and now knowing him, he's the coolest guy you'll ever meet. And the whole crew and the band, the crew, and the whole production, everybody's lovely, wonderful people. So there's a great vibe, great positive vibe. And it was a real thrill. And
I saw you get up and do Schools Out, and they even gave you his cane, which must have been quite a rare.
On my birthday in Zwickau in Germany, he gave me one of the swords to pop the balloons, the balloons that have the confetti and glitter inside. He gave me one of the swords because he knew it was my birthday. So I had one of the swords, and then at the end of the song, he had the guy who's the hunchback. He brought me a cake, and they had Alice sang "Happy Birthday" to me with the whole audience, and that was like the best birthday ever. I was like blown away. Fantastic. He's such a sweet guy. At the end of the tour, and after the last show in Milan, he gave me this.
Oh wow!
Stiletto. Switchblade, which normally would be like, oh yeah, a weapon, but when Alice Cooper gives you a switchblade, I mean, That's cool. That is one of my prized possessions now.
Is it like a movie one, or is it a real one? You could actually hurt
It's a
someone?
real one. All the stuff is real, and
Yeah,
the knives that they on stage, they're real. They're very very sharp. And he does target practice. Backstage. I remember. So when he had a dartboard, I said, "Are you throwing darts?" I said, "No, knives." Oh right, yeah, target practice. So he'd teach me one day how to throw knives. And
Happy birthday, by the way, and everyone. You're not going to believe, but
thank you.
60th, and you're doing a big event in Helsinki on the 23rd of September. And it
Yes.
sounds like you've spent a lot of time planning it. You're really excited about it, judging from the interviews.
Yeah.
I think people might travel from all around Europe for it. Tell us, what can you tell us about it?
Well, it'll be a night to remember. It's once in a lifetime. I can't reveal all the surprises yet, but it's going to be phenomenal. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of many cool guests, very cool guests, and all songs from all throughout my career, including Hanoi. Stuff that there's many songs that we haven't played with my current band, and some songs that were never played live also are going to be there. So it'll be I recommend be there, or you might be very sorry that you weren't.
Special guests, anyone?
I can't mention it. It's got to be a surprise.
And you said it's not just about Altamont. People listening might think it's about Altamont and about the sort of massacre at the festival, but it's not just about that.
Yeah, no, it's Murder, the Summer of Love it's obvious. There's obvious references to Altamont, but it's more broad than that. That it's really about being in the present moment, appreciating the good things that are happening now. Because as people, we tend to tear things down in the name of progress, and then only to look back at them nostalgically, wishing that we still had those people and them places and moments again. So it's basically what the song is saying is get up off your ass and live life to the fullest in this moment, because this moment is what determines the past, future, and the present. So that's what the message of the song is.
What made you reach that conclusion and have those thoughts, Michael? Was there something that happened to you, or something you saw, or?
No, it's just it's kind of like a lyric on Nothing's All Right, just Born in the Age of Altamont, which is, I wrote that with little Steven, and I was originally, Steven had an idea of singing about the 60s. It was going to be called 60s Baby, and I was born in the age of Aquarius. And I think Altamont is more realistic. That's when the whole thing, the reality hit, and everything came to, it's kind of wiped out the love and peace movement. And so that line might have been an inspiration for, but see, I think that's still the closest that people ever came to having the power, because it was in the name of love and peace. In America, the government couldn't even crush the revolution because there was with violence, because the hippies were just saying have a flower, and love and peace. Then they probably just came out with a scheme to put out some bad acid or something, and then they had bad trips, and we're just freaking out. And we were just hippies back then, and then they became yuppies, and their revolution was vanished again. But in any case, that's what the song is about. It's about life in general, basic rules, live life to the fullest in this moment right now. And, that's the message. But obvious references to Altamont. The stupid had a gun also as there's a connotation to, wait a minute, smoke in the water. Some stupid with a flare gun, burn the place.
Yeah.
Little things like that are always hidden in the lyrics,
One song that I'm sure people have asked you about it, but I haven't seen you speak about it, is Dearly Departed, and what kind of inspired that. It's obviously a change of pace, and it's a very poignant song. And I guess, on a broad sense, it's about mortality, which we all think about from time to time. Where did you come up with that?
That was, I actually wrote that already in 2001 when my late wife passed away. And there was actually, we wrote Jude Wilder. We used to write songs together, and that was the last title she gave me, because she was not feeling well. And I said, how about write a song? You got any titles? And she said, how about this, Dearly Departed? And I wrote the lyrics after she passed away and around that time, but I always thought it was a bit too personal and sad to record. And last summer, I started thinking like maybe it might be a good time for that song to be recorded. And it's basically, it's about losing someone near and dear, and having to readjust your life to that situation, which all of us unfortunately go through before too long in life. And then the original arrangement had there's a bridge that made it. It was going to be like, you know, with the whole band, but then I changed it. I decided to get rid of the bridge and just have the verse and the chorus. And then I sent it to the guys, and Sammy Alpha, he had an idea about the approach to having it like as it is now, with that atmosphere, that kind of haunting, with no real big drums and the band, more like a little bit of Spanish influence, and like Sammy plays the acoustic guitar. But some of his demos, it's the same tempo, so we use some of the demo even on the album version. And when I heard that, his idea of the music, of the, well, this is it. It's definitely the last song of the album. It's going to be there, and it really was the right time for it. And after the whole track listing came together, I looked at the beginning of it. The first song is called "Murder: The Summer of Love," and the second to last song is called "I Live Too Fast to Die Young," and the last song is "Dearly Departed." So there's this death theme that appeared. That is just a little sign to me that, okay, this is the right order, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, a death theme in a positive way, you know. Murder: The Summer of Love is like killing an ideal as opposed to a person. And I live too fast to die young, obviously reinventing an old cliche, live fast, die young. I live too fast to die young. And Dearly Departed, of course, you know.
Yeah, well, it's an amazing song. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Congratulations on that. How would you sort of describe the vibe? I mean, it's funny, isn't it? People's perception of what they think punk is, what they think heavy metal is, what they think rock and roll is, and you've kind of got elements of it all in there, haven't you? So three people can come to a show or see you for the first time, if, you know, obviously most people are aware of you, and they could each have a different idea of what genre it is. And sometimes they judge by an appearance, sometimes they judge by one song, sometimes they judge by the other bands that you surround yourself with and the other bands that claim you as an influence. And they can see you three different ways, four different ways, five different ways. It's quite unique. Do you get that? You get fans coming from different directions.
Yeah, but I think genres in general are unnecessary. I mean, one of the best things about Hanoi Rocks back then was that we defied all categories, and we played anything from punk to calypso. So, I think it was great, because we crossed over to everybody. Everybody came to see Hanoi at the Marquee when we were creating a scene there. We crossed over to everybody from hippies to punk rockers to teddy boys, and it was even skinheads, whatever. Everybody came to see Hanoi, and that was really healthy. I think it was good. And I always considered that I play rock and roll. There's a lot of punk influence. There was influence from the 50s, from Little Richard to the Rolling Stones to the Ramones, you know, and everything in between, and from blues, reggae, funk, everything. I take influences from everything, all kinds of music. But the genres, like grunge and, you know, metal, and I mean, of course, the industry loves putting things in categories. They can market it. How are we going to market this, you know? But then it becomes too much of a business, and that's why one of the reasons I left America was because music has no business in the music business over there. You know, it's all about business, and it's that's why things don't sound as great anymore. There's not that many. I mean, it's not nostalgia. They're talking about how great things were before. I mean, music was made for the right reasons before, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, even early 80s. It was made for music's sake, and had more personality, had different types of bands. Everyone was doing their own thing, and they were not thinking of how are we going to sell this, how are we going to market this, or what are we going to call this, grunge or heavy metal or whatever, punk or hip hop, or, you know, whatever. I think it's, you know, genres are just limiting. They, you know, if you jump on a bandwagon like that, then you're going to disappear with the wave. And I think rock music will always stay because it's timeless. Good rock music is timeless, and that's why it'll always be there. You know, from like Alice Cooper, AC/DC, ZZ Top, Rolling Stones, and all these classic bands, and, you know, and Hanoi Rocks, and it's good rock and roll. It's good rock and roll. So I don't really care about the categories. And I think the rebellion is always going to be there. That's part of rock and roll. What the punk thing was a good reminder, kicking the ass for at the time, and there were like all these rich rock stars living in their castles and writing songs with 20-minute solos and self-indulgent stuff that put people to sleep, you know. So here come the Ramones, and have like 2-minute songs, 2 minutes top, no guitar solos. Bam, bam, thank you, man. Totally in your face. It didn't have to be a virtuoso player in order to be in a band, and that was a great kick in the ass. But then all these other, genres. I think they're unnecessary. Good music is good music, and it shouldn't be limited to genres.
Before
So,
before we have another song, I wondered how you feel about some of the bands that came along after Hanoi and some of the singers that took more than a little bit from you. They're now struggling with their voices, and they're kind of like, they're not putting out new music. And your voice, I mean, as a singer, do you feel fearful about your voice going on you at some stage? And how do you feel about that?
No, I don't feel fearful of losing my voice. My voice holds pretty good. I've had no problem with it. Unless you have sick, you have laryngitis or something. You still have to do the show. You can't make any excuses. I don't know who you're referring to about these people. There are a lot of people were influenced by Hanoi and me back in the 80s, and there were some bands that played their hairspray cans better than their instruments, which I didn't think it was. They took the posing and the partying and all that, which wasn't the main thing at all. It was always about music to me and about performance, and I always concentrated on that. And even for Hanoi, even they would drink anybody under the table, those guys. The music was the most important thing, and that's what came first. And I've never messed up a gig, never screwed up a show for being out of it or anything like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, it's some people, some of the bands, it's always nice to see a band that they're influenced by you and others, and then they'll make their own thing out of it. So there's a lot of great stuff like that. That's always nice to see. I mean, even like with Guns N' Roses, even they got their own thing, and they got the right attitude and all that. So it's great to see a band like that be as big as they are. I'd say I even went, seeing in 2010. I was at a festival in near Turku, where I live here in Finland now, where there was that band Slipknot were playing, and Rich Jones said, "Come on, let's go and see Slipknot." And I said, "Okay, yeah, I want to see what that's about." And it was a scary, heavy show. I was on the side of the stage, and all of a sudden, the guy with the long nose comes up to me and says, "It's you. It's your fault." I was like, "Whoa, he's gonna attack me? It looks so dangerous." I said, "Man, it's your fault. I'm doing this, man. My first album was Back to Mystery City. I love your stuff." And then he brought Corey Taylor there. Said, "Look who's here!" And Michael Monroe. Wow, they were like fans. You could never know from their music that they were into, the Hanoi Rocks was one of their inspirations. I was like, wow, that's amazing. That's great to see. They completely have their own thing. So, that's always nice. Of course, all kinds of, you hear you're influencing somebody in a good way, then that's flattering to hear.
I was looking, actually, before we started this interview, I was looking at flights from London to your 60th birthday show on the 23rd of September, and it was probably cheaper to get there than would be to get to a show in Manchester. Cheaper than a train to Manchester to get a flight.
We're going to tour it in February, right? We're doing Yeah. Do you mean to cheaper than?
I mean to go from here, but my point is that when I looked at it, I went, Finland, pretty close to Russia. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like I'm kind of thinking twice about going.
Well, it's going to be a totally different from a regular show. From a regular show in England, this 23rd of September is going to be the celebration show. It's going to be completely different. So that would probably be worth the trip. But in any case, do what you like. We're doing a tour in February, right? With Phil Campbell's Bastard Sons and
Hard Rock Hell Sleaze as well.
Black Star Riders. And Hard Rock Hell Sleaze, that's going to be in the end of August, right?
Yeah. That wasn't my point, though, about whether I want to come to the show or not. That's of no interest to anybody. But it's more about the fact that you live in a place where it's quite turbulent at the moment, politically. And I just wondered, do you hold any fears? Do you have concerns?
Well, of course, it's concerning that this stuff can even happen in this day and age. That a guy like that can actually, start a war, and that it can even happen in this day and age. It's incredible. It's beyond comprehension, and of course, it's everybody's concerned here. But we don't. I mean, some bands even cancel their shows to Finland because they're scared that something's going to happen. But we're not too worried. I mean, surely anything can happen, but I don't know. I mean, let's just hope that it ends soon. But I don't think there's any. Well, as we saw, anything can happen at any time. So you know, people are very concerned here, but we're not going to stop living, and they're not going to start living in fear. You know.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, there's a few things I want to give you the opportunity to go through. Children's book, documentary,
Yes.
the remixing of Oriental Beat. These are all things that are happening in your world at the moment, aren't they? So it's a big year for you.
Yeah, it is a big year. It's just, and it's also the year of the tiger in the year of the tiger in Chinese horoscope, which they must be my year. Okay, so the children's book, it's about I had this cuddly toy as a kid. It was called Nupu, and now I have a cat called Nupu. It looks the same, as big ears in there. But yeah, it's a children's book. It's coming out in Finland and Finnish for now, and that's just a project I was doing because of the pandemic. There was nothing, you know, to try something else, something different. So it's a cute little project. What was the other thing you wanted to know?
Well, there's a documentary, isn't there? There's a documentary.
Yeah, documentary movies in the making. Yeah, it's great because we just shot some stuff with even with Alice Cooper in Milan, and it's been in the works for 2 years, and it's going to be coming out in 2023. And it'll be great. It's going to be called The Best Kept Secret in Rock and Roll at the moment. It's called. But yeah, it'll be a deep description of it goes to, you know, great. It's not only going to be a listing of my achievements and stuff like that. It's going to dig deeper into my personality, and it's going to be really great.
Yeah,
a movie like that once in a lifetime, so I've got to do it proper.
Yeah,
it's coming out next year. Thanks for having me. And all right, cheers. And hi to all the listeners, and thank you. Bye.